We're good.
Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Good to have everybody here live. Just a few minutes past the hour. You may notice that we've got 5 people on camera tonight. They are going to go like this when I mention their names. I'm Matt. Below me is Olivia. Below her is Amy. Leroy can blow me. And then we've got, who the hell's that guy?
Who is that?
I didn't even introduce you guys, didn't I?
No.
What a horrible host I am.
Yes, you are.
In the green room, I didn't even tell it. Amy's just like, who the hell? Is this like Matt's brother or something? This is Mike. Mike called into the show and said, well, I want to be on the show, so we're going to give him a shot tonight. I don't expect him to do very well.
God, you're horrible.
Neither do I. Thank you for that, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
The vote of confidence.
Mike kind of looks like an anorexic, much younger version of Matt.
But not a Jewish lesbian, though, as Matt found, correct? Or
That's not
past
part
that.
of the prerequisites. Oh,
I am willing to learn. I am willing. I do have to ask the question about push-ups, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
He was saying anorexic because you don't look muscular like me, but you do look younger, so there's a trade-off. So, I don't know what he's trying to say.
I love the anorexics.
Oh, I thought you were trying to hit on me. There we go. Okay.
3 seconds. We'll be back in 3 minutes with a show. Shut up. Matt Howitt says, looks like he's in Mom's basement. I love it. It's going to be a fun night.
Oh, boy. Welcome to the show.
So confused, you feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and
Yes, that's Harry Sasson and his gay friend dancing in socks and doing closeted things that I don't understand. It just make me feel really weird in places.
to make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, dance on what you need.
When's Russia going to invade? Iran, China. I mean, can you imagine this generation having a fight in World War II?
3?
No.
Oh,
having
fight in World War II.
Yeah, World
Got
War
it.
II. Can you imagine what it would be like? I mean,
Yes, actually.
The language.
I was thinking of this looks like a very gay, risky business.
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say?
Tom Hanks would have asked that guy, you don't have to bring your typewriter with you. Yeah.
I was saying, it looks like they're trying to play chopsticks with each other's penises.
Yeah.
It's pretty gross.
They had
And
a sword
seriously,
swallowing contest.
Do it.
And they both
Do a squat. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. Do a squat. Squat each other. Just do something. All right.
And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's dog.
Listen, folks, I'm sorry. I don't mean to make this a big deal, but Flat Earth versus Globe Earth has 38 viewers right now on Twitter. We're pushing 4. You must do better. Like we usually have 100 people on Twitter. So let's Melanie get to work. All right, Mike, it's you. And you're going to say snap into a Wimkin after the music stops. Don't screw this up or we don't get paid. Do you understand?
Yes, loud and clear.
It's a big deal.
Don't fuck it up,
Pressure
rookie.
is on.
I'm totally going to mess this one up.
Don't do it. Here it is.
Snap it to a Swimkin or Wimkin. Ah, crap. See, there it was.
How are you?
All right.
Swing.
Perfect.
We're gonna have
That's a
to
swing kid.
I don't know. It's like, don't mess up. Don't mess up. Don't mess up.
I was going to ask you if you
Swimkin.
brought your sister on the show for a hot second.
Did Harry Sasan decide to stop by and hijack your mic? I'm just wondering.
Hey, I
Snap
was
into
going
it.
for a Bill Murray from this SNL that was good back in the 70s.
goodness.
Okay, I tried.
Snip into a snimkin?
Yeah.
A Swimkin.
Just shut
You
up.
put me on the spot. I'm not. Yeah.
Howdy, y'all. This is Damani Felder.
This
These
is
are
a black
perilous
man.
times
Try to be respectful, Mike.
in American history.
I will.
And now more than ever, we need individuals who are willing to wage war on the ideological battlefield with like-minded individuals.
Leroy, sit
I
up.
think no better place
Your
to start
camera's
than
low.
my friends at the Unfriend
Lights.
show. So thank you for being here and enjoy the show.
Thanks, Damani. We love you, buddy.
Yeah, we do.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show, folks. It is good to have you here. Mike is a viewer who has called in, and for some reason we invited him after he hit on my wife. Liv, why did we invite Mike again?
I don't know. Funny thing, my
Charming,
brother
beautiful
was
thing.
watching that show, and he's never watched the show before, but he was watching that show.
Oh, your
And
brother, Chris.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I asked
yeah,
him, I was
that's
like,
smart.
I was like, how long did you watch the show? And he goes, I turned it off right after that douchebag hit on you. I was like, oh,
No.
Dude, Chris,
I was like, oh my gosh.
you think I'm scary? Chris is like scarier than me, but he only says 3 words. Like he only knows 3 words. Like
Yo.
it's yo,
No.
no, and yeah. That's it. That's it. I mean, like it's be like gum dum dum. But he'll smash face. Hulk smash.
Yeah. So just a shout out there to your brother. It was a compliment. I was not
Yeah.
hitting on her. I was
Sure.
complimenting Matt
Sure.
and his family,
Sure.
his choice
Sure.
of women.
Leroy, if your back is hurting you, Bubba, don't sweat it. I know it's hard,
No,
but
I'm
can
good.
you brighten up a little bit? You're a little dark. Sorry. You have like a
yeah.
little soul glow. You know, let that soul glow shine through.
He's really living out his ancestry report results right now, isn't he?
It is.
right.
It is. Well,
Yeah.
listen, you've already screwed up the intro. You don't need to bring race into this, okay? Amy, you look lovely tonight. How are you, sister?
I'm good. I've missed you guys. It's been, I feel like
Feels-
forever because of Thanksgiving. So
It
happy.
feels like
Yeah.
yeah.
Belated
How was everybody's
Thanksgiving.
How was your Thanksgiving? Did you have a good one?
It was great. My family is still here. So it's been good. And yeah, it's good. Yeah. How about you guys? You guys have a good Thanksgiving, everyone?
I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yes.
Got a little bit of snow,
I-
just, a little sprinkle. Yeah, Leroy.
I got stuck in Cleveland for that lake effect snow that always kicks everyone ass around that time of the year.
What were you doing in Cleveland? Were you watching Ohio State lose?
Thanksgiving. Yeah, you know what? It's funny about that. I don't even follow Ohio State or any of that, but my whole family was going nuts about it. So, yeah.
Good. So
I,
yeah. I mean, they got maced. I mean, we can talk about that. I mean, seriously, they're football players. It's like, what are you doing, macing football players? I mean, that's kind of stupid. I don't care how dumb they're. Now I know they were pushing everybody and beating up cops, whatever. But we'll see. Nice to see that we're ready to pass the Round Earthers Club. So thank you, people on Twitter. Melanie, thank you for doing your job. She very quickly got a lot of people on. Tonight we're talking about, what are we talking about? We're talking about Kash Patel. What else are we talking about?
Kash Patel.
I think we're talking about Biden pardoning Hunter.
Pardon me?
Biden pardoning Hunter.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
The fact that it took twice is really disappointing. So, hey, Yenny's in early.
Yep, Yanni's here.
Yenny's in early. She's into it. Mike, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? I've got photos, so if at any time this goes south, we're gonna share them. But Mike, please, you have the floor. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Mike. I live just right outside of Atlanta, a little to the north of it. I've been listening to the show probably for around 4 or 5 months now. Called in a couple times, as Matt has said. It seemed to go pretty good each time until you hit on Olivia. So that's something. Yeah. So no, I've always been interested in listening to a lot of politics, a lot of war strategy. I'm a history buff. I wasn't really good at math growing up, I'll say that. So I really went towards the books. However, I didn't read all that much. It was just more of who I surrounded myself with at the time. I'm an Eagle Scout, had a Boy Scout troop that was actually a Boy Scout troop back when the Boy Scouts were still the Boy Scouts. And in a small town south of Atlanta, we met every night at the VFW. So once we got a little bit older and closer to getting our Eagle Scouts, the Vietnam vets, some Korean vets, Gulf War vets, they sit you down and have those good conversations that, we were all young. We wanted to hear the war stories. And that's really been a driver of my life and who I try to surround myself. So naturally, I come from a family of veterans. My father served in the Air Force. My uncle, who's very close as well, is a former staff sergeant in the Army, served in Haiti, Bosnia, and in Iraq. And my grandfather rested. There you go. You might know him. Might have ran across him. My grandfather, though, rest his soul. He's a Marine. So just had a lot of good upbringing, as well as 2 very intelligent parents and a wonderful sister just to surround me growing up. And for the last 7 years, I've worked in a career of building gas stations. So across 2 different companies at this point. So that's kind of where I'm at in life.
Tell us why you don't like your mom.
Great. Yeah, let's just go ahead and start with this. No, Mom, if you're listening, I love you dearly, and Matt's just trying to get me on somebody's bad side today.
She emailed me today, and she's like, Matthew, you must not show the 477 pictures that I sent you in full frame 8x10, 7 megapixels a piece that took me like 7 hours to download, and I'm like, well, that's good because they're probably not going to be downloaded by the time we hit Monday. And I'm like, I'll call him. I'll put him at ease. And she's like, I don't want to embarrass him. And I said, oh, don't worry. We got him. We'll take care of it. You don't have to worry about it. No blood will be on her hands by the end of the night. Folks, this is the Don't Unfriend Me show. What do we do here? Well, we're all friends. Well, I mean, Olivia, Amy, and Leroy and I, and we're working on Mike to become a friend. Right now, he's just an acquaintance, but it's starting off very well. And we anticipate that he will join the show upon occasion. It's good. It's been us for quite a while, so it'll be nice to have a new perspective. Leroy, you wanted to talk about Kash Patel. I know you were interested in that. Amy has a story that she wants to share. Who wants to go first? And I'll just bring it up. Let me know. Oh shit! Your Mike Spencer dad just said, "Who is this?" Dude, I am so sorry.
I'll text him and let him know.
I am so sorry. Olivia.
I actually had a couple of questions for Mike because this is the first time I've really got to meet the guy. You had mentioned you're a history buff. I was wondering if you could tell me, is that something that, like, what brought you to that? Do you read a lot of books on the subject? And also the fact that you built gas stations. I don't know if anybody's caught the latest Taylor Sheridan series, Landman. Have you watched that?
Oh, that's Taylor Sheridan?
Yeah.
You got
Only
interest
3
there.
episodes in.
I don't even know anything about that. No, I need to take that as a look here.
There's a clip we have of the show, and it's pretty good.
Paramount.
I'll show the clip.
It's legit. It's good.
Okay.
So far.
So go ahead, Mike.
Show? Yeah. So I hadn't watched that. What got me to the history of it though was it was quite funny. It almost backfired on my parents. I think when I was, I don't know, I must have been in elementary school. A game came out called Age of Empires, and they thought that since I wasn't big into reading, that I would read instructions and play a video game because it's you got to learn how to play it, right? I turned in very quickly to, all right, this looks boring. Threw that down and then just started playing and figuring out how to, make that game work at, I don't know, it was probably 8 or 9. And from that point forward, I was always into medieval era war. Anytime I did a report, I was talking about the Middle Ages, usually. That moved into the American Revolution. I mentioned that, I think, a week ago. That's my favorite time in just history in general. But no, History Channel was really big with a massive game too that came out called Rome Total War. They would use that as simulations for history TV shows midday, and I would watch that. I'd come back from summer camp and sit down, and mom would make a milkshake or something, and like that's just what I lived to do. And I just naturally gravitated towards war and towards weaponry, all the way to the point that here's an interesting fact that I tell very few people, but I'll share it with you guys tonight. I used to Civil War reenact when I was like 16, 17, I think all the way into like 18.
You're a LARPer? You're a LARPer?
You could call it that. We actually had to do pretty big
I'm going to call it
drills,
that.
though.
No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it nerd. So
Well, we weren't out there with Nerf guns, and we were in a couple movies, so it was kind of neat. But I had to save all my money up, buy the musket, which I still have. I had the uniform, both north and south. We would camp, period. So we were a couple of the crazies that would do it. It's just a group of us Eagle Scouts growing up together and our dads. And it was a great way to get family involved and stuff. So, yeah, there you go. Hope that answers the war question there.
Yeah, according to Cuba and Russia, Eagle Scout is a paramilitary unit in the movie Red Dawn.
Right.
Great. That's my question. That's some question I have. I played all those games. In fact, I'm playing Age of Wonders right now, which is a very good spin on both of those series, Civilization and Age of Empires. Why didn't you join the military? Eagle Scout. Thank you, Bobby Richardson.
Thank you, Bobby.
Huge donation.
Thanks, Bobby.
What is up with that? Why not join the military?
Right. So growing up, Dad was still in service. So we were down at Warner Robins Air Force Base where he did the medical route to where join the military to pay for the medical school. I believe I have that correct. And then he had to serve, I don't know, 8 or 9 years at the time. So we lived on base, well, right off base, but like I grew up at a very young age being taken onto base, and Dad would know all these cool officers, show us the airplanes, the Thunderbirds. We got to, I think we got to meet them a couple times, but just growing up under a military father, an officer, and having that instilled in me. And then definitely the VFW and talking to the Vietnam, Korean vets guys growing up. I mean, you hear a lot of the stories, especially late night, when the bottles get turning over, and they kind of freak you out. And that's why I have massive respect for all the vets. So first and foremost, thank you and Leroy for serving, and anybody else who serves that's watching the show. Thank you to my family as well for instilling that in my life. But no, I got accepted to the Citadel, and this is probably really what made me choose to not join. And it nothing against Citadel. It was just I wanted to have a college life in my mind. I wanted to enjoy maybe a fraternity, social life, and when I went there for the orientation, and you're looking at all these 18-year-old knobs, and you're watching what that goes on there. Could I have done it? I probably could have. Looking back on it, I probably should have. But no, man, I've always landed in a position that go off my gut instinct, and my gut just said, this isn't for you, but respect the people that are around you who have done it. And I do so dearly.
Yeah. Just speaking of Civil War reenactments, I had a friend of mine who we just probably moved from California into Colorado, and was one of my first friends. And he did Civil War reenactments, and horribly expensive. And he also did LARPing, like Amy talked about, would do D&D and, go around and dual wield swords and halberds and all that other crap. And he invited me one day to go. And this was later after I got back from the military. I was never invited back. So I think I killed every one of those sons of bitches.
Did you have the foam swords, that stuff, or did you actually have the kit?
Yeah. No, I had foam swords, and Driss Do'Urden is one of my fantasy heroes, and the Mensa Berenzin series by R.A. Salvatore, and a drow dark elf, and he dual wields scimitars. So holy shit, is that wrong?
Oh yeah.
Come
That's
on,
totally
Liv.
wrong.
That's like
Jeez.
come on, man. That's like flashing your boobies.
No, I told you this thing is so like freaking like touchy. If I like put the mouse over
I
it,
just had a fucking heart attack.
I was like,
thanks a
"Jeez,
lot. I'm like, oh my
sorry."
God, we just made our month. This is exciting.
I thought I was about to be invited on every night moving forward. I was about to just take all credit for that.
Sorry.
Yeah, but anyway,
Just because you look like you got a soft mouth.
That's oh, jeez, cool. It's gonna start. Here we go.
All right, let's try that one again.
So anyway, point being is I got invited to that, and I was merciless. Like if they didn't yield, I would continue to just smack the living shit out of them until they did. And most of the guys are like, "Oh, you didn't hit me," and I would go for face and everything, and they would get very upset. I wasn't invited back, so it was fun. It was fun.
It didn't take off the thing.
Refresh it, Libby, and start over.
Okay.
It's just you got to figure this out. It's just are you dragging? All you do is type in the number.
No, I did. I must have hit the comments of the period.
So anyway,
okay.
Yeah, it's tough numbers. Moving on. It's not a big deal. It happens. Just slow down to speed up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Here is the video that we were just talking about. What was the name of the show again? I can't remember.
Oh, it's called Landman, and it stars Billy Bob Thornton. It just the first episode went out about 2 weeks ago, and just because we're big fans of Yellowstone, this was one of those shows that aired immediately after, and it was fantastic.
Yep. So we're going to show it. Probably get a copyright strike, but I'll fight it.
On my end, it's normal. So
hey, Libby.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right. It's okay. Just refresh and save. Got to do the show, Pumpkin.
Yep.
Okay. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure? Is that number right?
That is correct.
Okay, good. All right, here we go. So probably get a copyright strike, but take a listen to this. I saw this clip. I know this is what Leroy's talking about. This is amazing. Mike, we get your opinion on this and everybody else's. Here it is.
Have any idea how much diesel they have to burn to mix that much concrete or make that steel and haul this shit out here and put it together with a 450-foot crane? You want to guess how much oil it takes to lubricate that fucking thing or winterize it? And its 20-year lifespan, it won't offset the carbon footprint of making it. And don't get me started on solar panels and the lithium in your Tesla battery. And never mind the fact that if the whole world decided to go electric tomorrow, we don't have the transmission lines to get the electricity to the cities. It'd take 30 years.
Mike Lynch Sr. just sent an email. Listen, how many family members do you have watching this show, Mikey? I mean,
my God,
seriously,
I have no idea.
I got your father messaging me. I mean, luckily he didn't hit on my wife, which is good. So he's like, Mike was accepted to Citadel. He just didn't have enough grit. No, wait a second. He said they didn't have enough girls. That's what he said. I'm sorry. I completely misspoke. So I apologize. Yeah. That was a complete mistake. We're not going to let you respond.
That's very funny because
we're going
the university I ended up going to still didn't have a whole lot of girls until we got merged with the big ones. But we made friends with the sororities. We did do that.
Your dad's very proud of you, obviously. But now I've got your mom mailing me. I've got your dad mailing me. I mean, you have a sister? Is she mailing me? So
she probably will not watch the show. But mom and dad,
is she Kamala Harris supporter? Is Kamala Harris?
Maybe. Yeah. There's a chance.
Okay.
All right.
Well, at least your parents have one.
Must have been an interesting Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I was a great Thanksgiving. We know just keep the mouth shut for the most part on politics.
Did you guys talk about the prices?
As you did when we were growing up, by the way. I'm just throwing that one out there. Like this was never a problem growing up in any household, and we had 30 people over for family reunions. It never got discussed. I don't know when all this started.
Did you guys talk about the high price of food? When she was there.
No, all right. So we did, but not in the way of high price. We got very blessed this year. So 2 weeks ago, I got sent down to Venice, Louisiana, to go fishing on a massive fishing expedition down there that we didn't have to pay for. Right. So I had all this sea trout coming back and some redfish and some sheep's head that we caught. And I looked at my dad and mom. I was like, I know it's fish. I know it's Thanksgiving, but we don't really have to pay for anything. And mom's like, bring it up. We'll put it on the grill. So that's what dad and I did on Thursday. And then dad had I think it was a partner of his at work. Somebody raised his roosters and they gave him like a 25 pounder. So we had a
Jeez.
lot of food, and it was like I looked at the family.
Rooster?
They had to pay for this stuff. It's like, this is great.
And
Yeah.
is rooster good to eat?
I said rooster. I'm sorry, turkey. I'm sitting here I don't know why I'm thinking rooster.
Because I was
saw
like,
a
if I'm not
taco
mistaken, I thought
earlier
rooster was
today.
extremely like tough and stringy, and from my understanding, that's
Probably.
okay.
Where did that come from? Literally like an hour ago, I saw a video of a rooster chasing a kid through a farm and just like attacking them because it was funny. I don't know. I have a weird rabbit hole of YouTube algorithms. But
Fair
turkey.
enough. You're just not eating rooster, right?
No. Sorry.
Does your sister eat meat?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's not that much of a Kamala Harris supporter. Like she's like full vegan and shaved her head and stuff, right?
No.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't it
That's
funny
good.
though that the first thing that he said was like, we were growing up to not talk about politics, and I really feel like a lot of
Right.
households are like that. Like that's
Yeah.
the one thing. Religion and politics are the things you're not supposed to bring up around the Thanksgiving table. And I always wonder to myself, why? Why not?
Yeah.
I
Me
mean,
too.
if you're not going to talk about it, then how the hell is anybody supposed to be educated or get different perspectives? God forbid we should let that happen. It should be one of those things that, it shouldn't get contentious. You shouldn't have to fling your rooster at somebody, but you should be able to have these discussions.
What type of dinner is
Oh, I
this?
know.
This is
Right.
we're gonna watch the rest of Billy Bob Thornton.
Talk about his rooster.
Here we go. The rest of Billy Bob Thornton. Here we go.
If we started tomorrow. And unfortunately for your grandkids, we have a 120-year petroleum-based infrastructure. Our whole lives depend on it. And hell, it's in everything. That road we came in on, the wheels on every car ever made, including yours, it's in tennis rackets and lipstick and refrigerators and antihistamines, pretty much anything plastic. Your cell phone case, artificial heart valves, any kind of clothing that's not made with animal or plant fibers, soap, fucking hand lotion, garbage bags, fishing boats, you name it. Every fucking thing. And you know what the kicker is? We're gonna run out of it before we find its replacement.
It's the thing that's gonna kill us all. As a species.
No, the thing that's gonna kill us all is running out before we find an alternative. And believe me, if Exxon thought them fucking things right there were the future, they'd be putting them all over the goddamn place. Getting oil out of the ground is the most dangerous job in the world. We don't do it because we like it. We do it because we run out of options. And you're out here trying to find something to blame for the danger besides your boss. There ain't nobody to blame but the demand that we keep pumping it.
Well,
Okay.
All right. We're going
think
to
it's-
watch that. What channel is it on? 'Cause-
I'm
Paramount.
assuming it's Paramount because
Amy.
it's Taylor Sheridan.
a lot of people say that it's. A couple of people said I don't want to watch it because I watched it and it was like softcore porn. I agree with you. We won't watch it for the same reason. So I'm with you. What do we think? I mean, listen. Even though that show seems anti-woke, some of the statements inside of it are fairly woke. Would like to get your perspective. Who wants to go about the clip they just saw? Who wants? Mike, you're our guest. You go first. You're in the industry of petroleum. Well, at least building gas stations.
Right. I get to dabble in a little bit of EV infrastructure as well as petroleum and pipelines. I mean, it all is interconnected. I've gone on multiple different sides of it to where they call them jobbers, but I've been on the oil supplier or jobber side of it. Those are the guys who hold the contracts with the big brands like BP, Exxon, Chevron, and maintain the imaging rights, and then send the trucker to the site. And then I've been on now the equipment side of it, which is an infrastructure. It's more enjoyable in my opinion. Now, what he is talking about there is absolutely correct in my opinion. Of those things are neat to think about at night, but every little thing, every component, every gear in your car, in a watch even, is running off of some form of petroleum, has been in the process for it down the line in a warehouse, churning a machine, and needed to have a lubricant to continue operating. So, I mean, yes, everything that you have today is impacted by petroleum to some extent. Now, I know they're eyesores. The big fans are the windmills. I think they have some purpose in some locations, but you're not going to probably have a EPA ability to even get on that property out in the Midwest or the West Coast where it's higher winds. I have dabbled in the EV side of stuff to where I've got a theory about why it's killing itself, but we can talk about that
Tell us.
later. Okay.
Good. Tell us.
So, all right. So it's self-inflicted wounds. in the consulting side of Metro Atlanta, really North Metro, I got to do about 3 months of just deep diving, no petroleum focus, straight electric focus. I worked with the guys who break concrete and run the trenches for your conduit, and I worked with the electricians who wire everything up from the panel all the way to the dispensers or the EV chargers. And I've worked with the manufacturers, multiple ones. And the big part of this that just everybody's gotten wrong, and I have not heard one person talk about yet, is the infrastructure is most important and most critical in the EV world, and it is not being met and approached in a feasible manner that actually makes sense. What do I mean when I say that? It's the more power. So like Tesla chargers, those are going to run off of DC power. They're fast chargers. They're going to get more juice to your car, 15, 20-minute charge, and then you're off. And that makes sense to the most part. I don't have anything against, I'm going to say this right now, nothing against EVs. If I could have someone give me a Tesla, I'd drive it. I don't own an EV today because, though, of what I've seen is salesmen. Everybody wanted a piece of the federal funding. So all these big salesmen nationwide, they'd find properties and they'd say, we'll install our unit for free. We get to make all the money off of it. And we get to run ads on these they look like billboards around malls, if you ever see those. But what they never tell the owners or the drivers until the drivers own their cars for probably 3 to 6 months and actually start understanding ampage and load of power is they're all the slowest chargers in the world that take 3/4-inch conduit. So like I went over to a city and tried to get into the mayor's office, which good luck getting into mayor's offices in Atlanta. Oh my God. But just to tell them, I said, hey, you have 6 chargers. They're what we call a 30 amp charger. And that'll get you about on a Tesla 5 to 10 miles max of charge in 1 hour. And you've got 6 of them in 3 parking decks. For me to replace them, just to replace 2 is going to be about $40,000. And their eyes are they exploded. They popped. They're like, why? I was like, well, I can get you an 80 amp unit. It runs AC power. It's going to be about 40 grand for 2 parking spots, but I cannot reuse any of your existing wiring, your existing concrete, most likely your existing conduit, because I got to break it all up. So how is this a green approach to electric? Nothing's green about it. I can't reuse rubble of concrete, and I cannot reuse the insulation around that wiring. And then I got to install about 1.5 inch conduit to run modern charging things that will get your carved about 60 to 80 miles charged in an hour. And that actually makes sense. I mean, $40,000 roughly. Now, I say that because everybody thinks they want a fast charger when they come ask me for one. Like we quoted out one parking spot and the infrastructure to run, I believe it was 350 kilowatts, which is a fast DC charger. That job, one parking spot, was $235,000 start to finish. So in perspective, 2 parking spots, $40,000, you get about a quarter of the charge of a $235,000 parking spot. That's why you're not seeing anybody put these in. And I have no idea where the federal money is going. We get
$6 billion went to like 11 chargers. I mean, some ridiculous number.
I think it was 13 officially. Yeah, it was stupid.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous number. And Buttigieg. So okay, so just to streamline this, because good information totally, but I think
that was Dad.
Streamline it. This is Mr. Lynch. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Sir.
Your son's not going to see a dime of it. You've already given him enough. So, the thing that I've questioned, but I think everybody probably has a little bit, is right now they're calling for rolling blackouts in multiple states when it comes to this summer and the heat wave index. They're incapable. They want to put regulators in California on energy consumption. They want to do blackout periods between like 12 in the morning till 5 in the morning, which means no AC. If we just replace 10% of combustion engines in ICE vehicles, we would overload what?
There'd be no way. They couldn't.
Yeah, you couldn't. And the reason why is that this may work for Denmark or Sweden, okay, where it's 1 out of 310 people own a car, because public transportation is absolutely amazing. But in the United States, you have like 12 or 13 cars per 100 people. It's a ridiculous number. So here's a question, and then we'll just go around the horn. Do you guys remember HD DVD? Does anybody remember that? and
Yeah.
Blu-ray obviously
Yep.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why did they move away from the DVD format? Does anyone know why? Because remember, the lifespan between cable TV and VHS, which was the first rentable source, was VHS tapes. Beta, it was great. It just went by the wayside. VHS did well, but the gap between VHS and DVD was like 14 years. It was a very long process. But the gap between DVD and Blu-ray was like 5 years. And the gap between Blu-ray adoption and 4K was like 5 years again. Why? Can anybody answer that question?
No, I can't. I remember we started stocking up, replacing our regular DVDs with HD, and we chose the HD option as
Right.
opposed to Blu-ray.
Yep.
We chose poorly
Well,
because we had to replace everything
It's
again.
not that we chose poorly. We only had like 30 or 40, but HD DVD was a superior product. It had better audio codecs. It was 1080p progressive, but it wasn't an upconverted signal like Blu-ray. It was actually a true 1080p source. So HD DVD was far superior.
Why did it fail?
Because the advertising. Because Sony backed Blu-ray, and the porn industry backed Blu-ray. Once porn backed Blu-ray, it was over, and that is why. So
I like the burgundy color of the HD.
yeah, me too. It looks good. So you have to ask yourself the question, why the upgrade? Now, the human eye, they're starting to come out with 8K. The human eye can't even process 8K. It is completely a waste of time. And you're starting to see these forced upgrades. So why internal combustion engines, ICE, why are they being replaced when the amount of cost it's going to take for mineral drilling, from scraping the terra firma to find the amount of raw minerals to replace these vehicles, is going to be more devastating to the ground than it is going to be to the air. You're just robbing Peter to pay Paul. And when you transfer power, or you take one thing and you remove it and then reproduce power and consumption, you're just taking matter from one place and putting it somewhere else. Is it truly a net zero positive to have EV vehicles over an internal combustion engine? And the numbers say no, because the overall payoff is ridiculous. So here's the question. Even if, like we said, we were going to do 10% of replacing all the vehicles in the United States, which is a complete impossibility, the infrastructure is not there, like Mike says. So where do we go from here? What happens in the next 30 years when we are in a processes where the United States is essentially the largest oil reserve in the world, and you have countries that are finding themselves dangerously low on oil because we know what happened with the Japanese and what they did. Imagine what's going to happen if Iran, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and China lose the ability to provide energy for their countries. What is their ultimate solution? Are we in a Mad Max type environment? I want to have Leroy go and then everyone else to chime in, Olivia, Amy, and then Mike go.
Okay, so real quick, I actually have a little bit of expertise in this. This happens to be one of the fields that I study while I'm at work, if you get what I'm saying, wink, wink, okay? And most of this information comes from this book. It's The Accidental Superpower by Peter Zion. He's one of the better experts in the United States in terms of mapping out where power comes from, where our energy comes from, how it gets here, and how it's going to affect everyone once we run out of it. Something you said about Russia. It's interesting because Russia has some of the biggest shale reserves in the world, and they can't do a damn thing with it because most of the countries that have pulled out were the ones that they were using to like explore some of those fields. And the reason they pulled out obviously was due to instability within Russia. Here's the thing. When you're drilling for shale, it's one of those not friendly type environments, and most of their shale is sitting in the permafrost. So you use water for fracking, right? Well, what's the one thing you can't do in the wintertime if you're trying to frack? You can't pump that water. And then during the summer months, it's just a giant marsh. It's not conducive to to having a productive well. So where's the next biggest set of shale reserves? Well, it's here in the United States. We're sitting on something like 622 trillion cubic feet of natural gas and another almost 78 billion. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, trillion barrels of oil here in the United States. Something that was mentioned in that Billy Bob Thornton clip was, what are the replacements? What's that going to look like? How is that whole scenario going to play out? We're still currently using around 86% fossil fuels for our energy. Only 14 of that is non-carbon. Guess how much of that is solar? It's like 1%.
Yeah,
not
or
even
less. Or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we start talking about, the replacements for oil, I think that's why that show really hits home, is because it's not bullshit. Those numbers are factual. This is one of those cases where the show gets it right. And I think that just eviscerated a lot of the left's arguments. And a lot of people were like, I'm not going to watch this fucking show. And when they should be, because there are no alternatives. You've got people like, who's the mayor out? I'm sorry, the governor out in California.
Newsom.
Newsom, who wants to stop the sale of internal combustion engines in California by 2035.
2030.
How is that?
2035.
2030. Yeah. How is that going to work? They were already told you're not allowed to charge your cards during certain hours.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
The one of the solutions is what Japan did. Japan, after World War II, recognized that energy would always be besides agriculture and food, is that energy was going to be one of its biggest struggles. And they invested in public transportation like ridiculous. Like, you don't need a car in Japan. In fact, you can pretty much get anywhere you want in Japan by train quicker than you can by vehicle. It's going to be reduced consumption is the solution to this. It is going to be the only long-term solution, but that is going to require people not to be materialistic and greedy, and that is the issue. Like, we're a one-car family, and a lot of people look at me and go, how is that possible? It takes planning, and it takes strategy, and it's not that hard of an issue, but we save $1,000 a month because we have one car, and I just can't justify having a vehicle out there that's going to collect dirt for $1,000 a month.
That's pretty much what happened. Your
ahead,
car,
yeah,
his car that we had, I think the last year we had it, I think he drove it 5 times, maybe 5.
Yeah.
So at the end of the lease term, we just turned it in. There was no point. He works from home. I'm the only one who works outside of the home. I'm the only one who needs a vehicle, and Hayden's almost to the point where friends can have driver's licenses, so it's going to be a little bit easier. But next couple of years, it's going to be a challenge with both of their stuff, sports and plays and blah blah blah. But we're dealing with it, and it's good. I would rather have some conflicts on the kids' activities than paying $500-$600 a month for a car that's just going to sit there. I mean, there's really no point.
Can I add something to what he said about Japan?
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Think of the genius of that business model. What some of the harder things to come across in Japan? It's ample energy supplies, right? And Japan figured out a long time ago that if you're missing out on labor because of demographics, that's how you end up with a developed robotic workforce. Think of the automotive factories. That's all they're pumping out. All right. So better than that, what you're going to do is move your entire business models, not from the point where you're producing it to get it over to the people who want to buy it. No, you're just going to produce it where the people are buying it. And if you can do that, then guess what? The United States, having the biggest energy reserves in the world, makes it that much easier to produce those cars. They can't do it in Japan.
I'm going to give it to Amy. I have a comment too, but I like this topic. So go ahead, Amy. Your call. Go.
Okay, sorry. There's so much. So just bringing it back to what would happen when the world runs low on our oil reserves and we're the last superpower. I think it would depend on who we have running our country at that time and the power we have behind that and the support we have of other countries. If we, keep being the superpower or if we're taken over by several other lesser powers combined together. It's something that's interesting to think about. I don't know if it'll happen in our lifetime. I hope it doesn't, honestly. As far as like, I mean, I can't ever see the United States ever becoming a transportation sufficient place. We live in a rural area. It is mind blowing to me that you guys only have one car. We have 3 cars, and we use all of our cars constantly for different things, for work and whatnot. But I can't imagine we drive thousands of miles every month. But also with our jobs, our day jobs, we have to drive. So I would love to have a EV car. Our neighbors have one. They're loud as anything. They're like, we hear them. I'm like, oh, the neighbors are home. We don't live close to each other, but we can hear their car. I can't imagine having one, but
their EV vehicle you can hear.
Yes, we can hear their Tesla coming down the road. It's just that whistle, that high pitched like whistling.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah. It's just it sticks
I thought
out.
they were supposed to be silent.
No.
well, I think they had to do that, right? Because they were
They did
so
for
quiet
safety.
that
They're so
people were
quiet.
like not aware when they were around.
Right. They would get rolled.
I'd like to add
Yeah.
something though to that. It's yeah, it blows my mind that you guys have one car too. Wow, I don't even have kids, and like it's just the fact that y'all have like 2 kids in a 4-person family with one car. Like I don't know how we would have done it growing up. We were very active, but nice graphic there. Okay,
Yeah, I was thinking
do
that's
we
what
turn into that?
Amy
That's
was
the
like,
way.
what's it going to look like? I'm like, something like this.
Okay, so it could.
I'm not shaving my head no matter what.
Yeah, well,
that was Charlize Theron, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yes,
She
it
looked good
was.
with shaved hair. Let's just be honest. But anyways, back to it. Back to the Mad Max statement here. I think there's a way out. I do, and I think it's nuclear. I wouldn't put all your eggs in one basket as far as going 100% of people need to be EV or 100% of people need to be petro or 100% gas, natural gas. Heck, they're making hydrogen cells, and the only problem right now is figuring out how to deliver that because it's highly dangerous material. So it's very hazardous, and you got to keep it really cold. So I've been to the little summits where you'll talk to the guys who are giving the speeches afterwards, and if you're like me, you're still like, wait, you're selling an idea to a bunch of other salespeople who have potential to be donors to you, but nobody's really approaching it as far as asking this question of what we're discussing today. This conversation needs to be on every news channel. Why hasn't it been? If I had to imagine, based on 32 years almost on this planet, greed, and somebody's getting paid to not talk about it. So it could be fixed with nuclear. Georgia is the only state, to my knowledge, Leroy, you might know this. I believe we're the only state, though, in the 50 that it has an ongoing nuclear reactor project. So as far as the Southeast goes, I mean, we've got Southern Company as well.
Do you mean new construction?
It's ongoing. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a long project, but it's like we will have a massive reactor in the Southeast helping power everything down here, and our grid will be probably okay. But if you added, I believe the number was a couple months ago, I think it was 33% of your U.S. drivers today is all that the power grid could handle, and that's with the rolling blackouts still. So is that really handling it? Like, no.
You're not going to get nuclear approved, and that's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter because both sides don't want it. So big oil isn't going to allow it. So conservatives, and then the green energy and the what's up, kid?
Hi, Fiona.
Fiona, hi, sweetie.
Hi, Fiona.
And green energy. Hi. Green energy isn't going to allow it, and you're never going to get it, even though it's the solution. It's the right solution. But that's the problem, is that they don't want to solve that. Big oil is...
Hi.
Hello. It comes down to $100 billion needs to be...
Love you.
It is what we need. $100 billion would give us plenty of infrastructure. We don't need speed rails. We don't need light rails inside cities. They're never utilized. Denver light rail's a freaking mess. But you need to find a solution to limit the amount of interstate congestion and big city traffic and the consumption, because that's the problem. Can you imagine if you were in a situation where you could alleviate overall congestion everyone here knows what happens when you get to go 65 on a freeway without stopping. Increase your overall fuel efficiency by what, 25, 30%? Right there alone. If you can figure out how to fix that, you are going to reduce fuel consumption from that aspect. We have got to start building vertical. Building outward doesn't work anymore. We can't do it. And we have to have a plausible solution for vertical buildups for traffic systems. Now, what does that look like and how is that done? You know what Elon Musk wants to do? He wants to go underground. He's like, it is more affordable to build underground and run tunnels underground than it is to build above ground. And not only that, it's 10 times cheaper than going vertical. And he wants to make a subterranean, freeway system. And that is the one thing a lot of cities can do, especially going down, doing like a 25 to a 70 or a 303 or 202 or 101 in Arizona, where it's going, around the city. Every city can do that. We're going to have to come up with that. So Department of Transportation is going to be a huge thing, but we got to figure out about efficiency. And that's the problem.
There was a question, and I wanted to say something also. Wouldn't an EMT strike disable all EVs? It's a question.
EMP?
Yeah, whatever.
It might. Depends on
it. Might. Yeah.
Any car for the most part.
It's anything with a microchip or an electronic sensor, but it depends. There's certain things that are shielded from EMP and have backup redundancies in order to maintain integrity. But those things are extremely expensive. But that's going to happen with an ICE vehicle too. Everything's microchipped in ICE vehicles. Everything from overall speed control to fuel consumption to nav controls, everything. So your analog brake system is tied to a chip. So it doesn't matter. Right now, if they launched an EMP, everything would be great except for a 57 Chevy, but you got to jump that battery or find a new cell because that thing's going to be fried too.
So I wanted to put in my 2 cents about Landman first. I'm very, very disappointed in Taylor Sheridan. He was supposed to release the Sixers Ranch first. Whatever happened to that? That's what I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
Very disappointed to find out that that's Taylor Sheridan. Get on the ball, dude. I want to watch that show.
The 4 Sixes. I'll tell you why, because Taylor Sheridan has his hand. He's doing exactly what West Wing, who was the writer?
Sorkin?
Yeah, Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin, yeah.
Aaron Sorkin. So Aaron Sorkin, too much, too far, too fast. Aaron Sorkin was writing a show a week. And with the complexity of the dialogue that he was writing, Taylor Sheridan has way too many effing projects going on at once as one writer, and he's overwhelmed. So that's why. Anybody else on ICE vehicles before we move on?
Real quick, I do, because I wanted to point this out. Just when we were talking about the Greens, that exact movement is what happened in Germany. About 2019, 2020, right before Rona happened, the Green movement kind of infiltrated into politics over in Germany. And this is, you guys can look this up. It's really interesting. What they did was they petitioned for the government to not allow any more construction of nuclear power plants. Okay, fine. But their electricity needs still went up. The demand went up. So in order to offset that with no new construction of nuclear facilities, they ended up having to revert back to coal. But because at the time it was getting harder and harder and more expensive to get coal, they ended up resorting to something called lignite, which is a brown wet coal in Germany.
What did you just call me? What did you fucking call me?
It's
you know what? You're
lignite.
You can't say a hard "ite." You've got to be like, you got to watch how you say that, man. Shit.
So, well, here's the point of the story: is because the Greens pushed for no new construction of nuclear facilities, and then they ended up having to resort to using this nasty coal, which is 4 times more toxic than any other form of coal, but that's what they had because it's cheap. The Greens ended up pushing emissions up in Germany, not down. And Germany spent something like 10 trillion euro on a solar array in Germany, and it produces something like less than 5% of their power. Why? Because the sun doesn't shine there. They spent $10 trillion and the sun doesn't shine in Germany.
Yeah, and look, it's literally and the high level portion of my entire approach to this, and what actually keeps me up at night, just frustrated, is none of it makes sense.
Right.
The idea, I'm sure, came from a good spot from somebody who was well intended, but we all know where that path leads. Okay, and what literally happens is I've got to go to these economic development boards and try to petition to get jobs with them and say, hey, I've got to take out what another sales guy sold you 2 years ago. That is technology that was created in 2011, and I can't reuse any of it. And they sold it to you 2 years ago, and they didn't think ahead to put in bigger conduit, bigger wires. I've got to go from 11 wire, which is smaller than your pinky's diameter, to something that is called 3-wire, quarter-inch wire, to run something that's not even DC power. And you want to get into DC, that's when you've got to bring the power company in and wait 6 months to get one of their transformers because you can't get the semiconductors still. And that's left over from COVID and the Suez Canal, just starting to get better in Texas with Texas Instruments. So it is a mess.
This isn't any surprise, right? The same thing happened with RG6 to RG59 antenna cable into houses and running wires for antenna. RG59 was the standard. It's a thinner copper coil. It's not as well shielded. Then you had RG6, which is a higher density, can carry more bands on the copper coil. It's more flexible. It's shielded to a higher degree. And it's great. But the problem is that you had them also running bumblebees and Christmas trees phone wire, but they weren't running Cat 5 and Cat 7 either. So retroactively, you have to go ahead and rewire your house. This is how people make money. It's the same thing with HD DVD and 4K and 8K. And this is my point, is that they are trying to monopolize the ICE market and have a shift. It's not feasible. It's not going to solve the problem. It is just, with energy consumption, you have to take something to create something. And it's a basic law in thermodynamics. The basic law in consuming energy is that you have to transfer that energy into a different state. So if you're burning fossil fuel, you're going to have to burn mineral. You're going to have to burn car battery. You're going to have to charge those batteries. And that's the thing that people don't seem to understand, is the replacement costs for these batteries are more than what our ICE vehicles are right now that are 5 years old. And not only that, you still have to power those damn batteries. It doesn't come from the sun. You can use solar power, that's fine, but you're going to have to put a $30,000 panel across your house in order to be dedicated to your vehicle. Is that true savings? I understand electronic cars, less wear and tear. You basically replace the tires, and that's it. But you have to ask yourself the question, a new tranny in a vehicle is going to cost you $5,000, $6,000. A new battery in an EV is $15,000. Where's the savings at? And let alone if you get in a head-on collision in that son of a bitch. We got to move on. I don't want to bore anybody anymore. We got to move. It is a good topic, and it's a fun topic, but it's also boring as shit for the people who aren't excited about it. So we're gonna pop onto something else. Coronavirus after action report. Leroy and I know what these are, don't we, Leroy?
AARs, yeah. Always fun.
After action review or after action report of the COVID-19 pandemic. Anyone have a chance to see this thing?
Didn't even know it was out.
Yeah.
Nope.
Didn't see it.
Well, let's dive into it, folks. I'm going to give you the basic rundown in this after action report. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. Here are the major findings. Who's excited? Everybody excited? Good. You should be.
Yes.
The NIH, National Institute of Health, funded gain of function research at the Wuhan lab. Officially disclosed in this after action report. I want to say it again.
God.
Fauci stated there was absolutely no gain of function. There's no gain of function research. Remember?
Yeah.
Liar. Liar.
Liar.
I'm not that. I'm your wife. I'm not a witch.
Humperdinck, 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 Humperdinck.
Have fun storming the castles. There's really nothing like a mutton and lettuce and tomato sandwich when the mutton is cut just really late. So that's one. Here's number two. The Constitution can't be suspended in times of crisis. The committee in the after action report said that you cannot suspend the Constitution. So remember those times when they said you can't go to church? They said you can't do this, you can't do that. You got to go ahead and give 6 feet. You can't have your business open. You can't make a living. You got to wear 3 masks, 2 masks, 4 masks, 5 masks. You got to get a shot. Not only got to get a shot, you got to get a shot for your shot. You got to get a shot for your shot.
Then you have to
COVID.
provide proof that you got the shot.
Yeah.
We're going to give
I
you a
think
card. If you don't have the card, you can't even get into the restaurant. You can't
Without
do
your
shopping.
papers.
I need your
That's pretty-
papers, please.
Yeah, I think some employers, the Houston hospital, are going to get sued.
Yeah,
after this report comes out.
Well,
oh yeah.
here's the other stuff. We're just getting started. COVID emerging from a lab leak is not a conspiracy theory. It is official, and they have confirmed that it is more than likely a lab leak. Echo Health and Dr. Peter Daszak should never again receive taxpayer funds. Public health officials have lost the trust of the people. Trump's Operation Warp Speed was a success based upon the overall speed and the efficacy of getting it done. The result obviously remains to be seen. COVID response was rampant with fraud, waste, and abuse, and the prescription cannot be worse than the disease. Lockdowns had horrific, severe consequences. That is the overall findings of this report.
I cannot wait for some people to go down for this. I am very excited.
I have two things, and it will literally take 10 seconds.
Yes.
For those people who have sensitive ears and who are juveniles and have not heard, listen, fuckhead. Nobody's talking to you.
She's got a lot to say about it too. Although she's happy COVID happened because we were home all the time.
I'm just going to say this. YouTube, Facebook, go fuck yourself. For all the fucking community notes on my page, when I was probably the most based, we were some of the most based people when it came to COVID. We did not get into the big overall conspiracy. We were really good about that, about trying to be as honest and direct as we could. We never told people not to get the shot. We just simply said, consult your doctor. Go fuck yourself, YouTube. You canceled my entire channel, destroyed, and have been throttling me ever since because you couldn't handle the truth. I fucking hate. Like, it is a hate. Like, I want to take a giant shit on YouTube's corporate headquarters. Like, I just want to leave it on the CEO's desk. And if I could ever have the day, I would totally do it. Zuckerberg, you guys are pig fuckers. Now I'm done. Anybody else go ahead?
I'll go ahead. I think there needs to be a ginormous class action lawsuit with every parent in every school district, every official who messed up our children for the rest of their lives. This was not a couple year thing. These kids are still suffering and still having extreme problems, not just academically, but with anxiety, social situations. It has ruined a generation of kids. And I am furious about this. And we were probably the least subscribed to all the COVID nonsense, in my opinion, allegedly, all the shit. Like, we didn't subscribe to any of it, but when we were forced to, we had to, and that's not enough just to my poor kids. And they did not have to wear the masks at their school, thankfully. But in public, golly day, God forbid to go to a store. I mean, even now, it's like if you sneeze, it's like you still have that, like, oh, am I going to be kicked out for sneezing here?
For a cold.
Was your kid's school
Once
was it
they
shut down?
Yeah, once they shut down, we yanked them out and just put them in private school. I was like, I cannot teach my kids. I love my kids too much to teach them. I don't have the patience for that, and I wanted to be the best mom I could be with them being home 24/7 all the time. So yes, no, they went to private, and we just opted out. I mean, our religious reasons. We're Catholic. We didn't have to do it. We opted out for religious reasons, so didn't have to do it. I mean, sometimes they would make them, but very rarely.
I only like the mask for like one little portion of it, and it was for like a week. I grew a mustache, and it looks really bad for that first like 3 or 4 days. and my family, we got mustache growers, we really do. So it got dark really quick, but I would just always put the mask on and just tell everybody, be like, oh, I'm just doing it for COVID, but no, I was doing it to protect the mustache. True story, that did happen.
I feel bad for cussing. I'm sorry for Mike's parents who are just like, oh my God, thank God we're not this guy's parents. I'm sure they can, but I don't want you to think I'm going to. Thank you, Bobby Richardson. You're a freaking amazing as always. Thank you, Bobby. Folks, it's that time of night. We've got 175, 180 people on. If everyone gave $1. So if you like the show and you're like, oh, well, this show's fun. This is a great show. I don't like that new Mike guy, but I'll tolerate him. Here, what we'll do is we'll just...
No, they're donating up.
Just do that. So if you don't have a chance, we understand it's Christmas time. It's time to pinch the pennies, but it's time to pinch pennies for everyone. This show, December, January, and February are the slowest 3 months of the year. Okay, so we're going to be asking for your help. If you have the ability to help out the show, please do. It's an investment into the show. Your dollars keep us going. Nobody else sees anything but Olivia and I, but that's because we're selfish and. It's just the way it is. The peasants don't make money, folks. They get their freedom. Moving on.
Real quick, you may not. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I add something to that real quick? So back to the COVID thing. When you consider the suppression of speech from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, when you consider how far back that whole era set back education and societal norms, when you consider how skyrocketing mental health crisis was a huge issue during that time.
Oh yeah, suicide.
The possible adverse side effects from the mandatory vaccine that everyone was forced to get, the violation of personal rights. I'm not sure that there is a punishment severe enough, because if you know that there is a family out there that all of this has happened to, how do you make up for that? Is this going to be one of those situations in 100 years where they compare it to slavery and say, how do you make up for this kind of loss for the entire society of America? How do you make up for that?
Real quick, Carrie, I sent it to you. Peterson, Chuck, send me a message. I'll send it to you as well. Go ahead, Liv.
The whole thing is bullshit. I mean, what it did to us. I mean, we had just moved out here for your new job. Just moved out here. We'd been here less than 3 months.
Left a Fortune 500 company, Fortune 15 company, 401k in the hundreds of thousands, stock options in the hundreds of thousands, health insurance, and a $250,000 salary. Left to go chase my dream to work with veterans. That's what I wanted to do. Got here, bought a house. 60 days later, job's gone.
Yep. Kids had 6 weeks of school in their new school. Didn't make any friends, so they were alone. I mean, Hayden, I think, got the worst of it out of all 4 of us. But
suicidal.
Just the whole thing was awful. And I mean, it couldn't have helped to, the kids were used, and on top of being in a new place and not having any friends, the kids were used to mom being home all the time because I was a stay-at-home mom. Dad being out of the house 5 days a week for work and that routine. Well, I decided to get a part-time job because I'm like, I'm bored. The kids are in school. I need something to do. So 11 days before everything shut down, I got a job and I'm like, I'm only working 3 days a week. Well, because of COVID, we changed our hours and I was now working 3 to 8, doing the kids' school in the morning, working 3 to 8. I'm not even there for bedtime with Ethan. And it was a mess.
I told you just to stay my sex slave, but no, it wasn't good enough for you. Mike, go ahead.
It's just horrible.
No, the suicide thing was a big portion of what a major shocker right there, I guess, towards peak end of COVID, October 2021. With one of my best friends, he ended his own life, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that went into that decision, but it was during COVID. Okay. He was an artist, so not a whole lot of people are asking to come paint the side of the building during that time. And it wrecked me to the point to where when y'all talk to Homer, and thank y'all for having him on, and he says, he's talked to me over the years, like he has been a major proponent of my mental health through that, because that was a major time in my life. I'd never lost anybody that close outside of family, So Gen Z, I'd assume, is probably y'all's kids' generation. I have no idea how they're doing right now, but I can tell you that as far as the millennials that I know, it was not easy, and it wasn't easy for anybody. I think everybody experienced it a little bit differently, though. So
it was the first time in my life where science became dogmatic in its principle, that the scientific method was no longer used, where you had to and were demanded to have faith in something that was not faith-based. Science is not faith-based. And you were told to trust the science and not to trust God, but trust man. And the systematic isolationism that was created, I'll be honest with you, I am a sociable person. I've been in retail my whole life outside the military. And I have thousands of employees, and I don't even like to go out anymore. COVID completely changed me as a human being. Like in Texas, we would hang out with my neighbors and we were joking and swimming, going outside. We just don't. I just don't have it kills the spirit. And I'm trying to find the words, and I want to make something very poetic and beautiful. And I'm sure if I wrote something I could, but it comes down to this: is that science has lost its way because science is no longer designed to prove a theorem. It's used to instill doctrine into people without context, value, and systematic removal of things that are not factual. And this is what happened: is you have to wear 3 masks, you have to wear 2 masks, you have to wear 1 mask. We all went and bought masks at the beginning. We went to Home Depot. No, you can't do that. You have to return those. You have to stop. We're not going to sell N95s anymore. Those don't work. You've got to have this type of mask. Thank you, Ashley. You got to stand up. You got to walk across. You got to put plexiglass. No, sit down. Stand up. Nope. You have to wear a mask in between bites. No, you've got to get 3 shots, 2 shots, 1 shot. You got to be 3 feet apart, 6 feet apart. No, it's contact tracing. Contact tracing? So essentially, we went fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And this, I just want to tell you this one little thing to remind you that nobody talks about. Here it is. You get COVID. You had to declare who you came in contact with for the last 2 weeks. Submit that to the United States government and the local town, city, and municipalities. Then you were responsible for contacting these people and telling them and have a walk of shame about how you got the disease and were negligent and had to literally apologize in some sort of fuck, dude. You had to call people and be like, I got COVID, man. You might want to go ahead and get your kids and round them up. They're all going to fucking die. Everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Right,
And it was
everyone's burning their blankets out in the yard like it was a Nazi book burning festival. Yeah.
Or bubonic plague. It was forced contrition and embarrassment. And it was all a social experiment to see how much control they could have over the people from a global standpoint. And honestly, listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I tell you what, you run drills. One thing in the military, you run all the time, GQ and general quarter drills, right, Leroy? And you do it and you test, you put everyone in positions. You have them put on horrible fucking fireproof masks and they shut off all the AC and your boat is just completely hot and sweaty and it sucks. And they recreate environments of high stress. So when you are under that environment, you perform. And it's almost to the fact that it felt like that this was that not COVID was created for this, but once they had it, there was a general consensus around the world for everyone to agree on how to combat this thing. Who declared that? How did all of the countries that can't agree on a dollar system, a system of transportation, a system of energy, a system of government, a system of classism, an overall economic goal, but they can somehow agree, all of them, every country around the world, to do the exact same thing in the exact same way? To me, I want to know who's given the order.
You know, when this is one of the things that got me, and I mean, LCPS, it's an amazing school system as far as education. It's one of the best in Virginia. But man, the politics suck.
Horrible.
Hayden had the flu. The flu. She didn't have one symptom of COVID. Not one. And the nurse called me from her school and said, she may have COVID. You need to come get her. And I'm like, what are her symptoms? And they're like, this. I'm like, those aren't COVID symptoms, but yes, I will come get her. You need to go get your son too. And I'm like, excuse me? Because she may have COVID. We've already called Roundhill Elementary and your son's already sitting in the nurse's office. They pulled him out of class because his sister may have COVID. And he was not able to go back to school until either Hayden had a negative COVID test, or if it was positive, he had to be quarantined for 10 days and he wasn't able to come back either. Luckily, she didn't have COVID. But no, it was like in 20, I think she was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the fact that happened and they pulled him out of class.
Right.
I'm like, just ridiculous.
Real quick, I know we have everybody wants to chime in, and I'm totally down with that. Matt, wasn't it all pre-planned? Look up when the vaccines were patented. Listen, SARS-2, we had 2000 to 2001. It showed its first ugly head. It's not like SARS didn't have vaccine prototypes and they didn't have antibodies, okay? Let's stop pretending that COVID showed up in 2019 in November. COVID was a variant. But I don't think it was planned. No, I don't think anyone wants to release a global pandemic. That doesn't help anybody. Do I believe that China was doing gain-of-function research and they were testing on animals and ultimately someone got bit or someone was exposed and didn't do a wash and their mop suit openly failed and then they went ahead and spread it? Sure. You got the report that says that's what happened, right? So was it inadvertent? Sure. I don't think China wanted to kill millions of people. Because if China wanted to kill millions of people, they could do it a hell of a lot easier than doing it this way, okay? I believe that this was something that was released not to change an election. Can we just stop the fucking dumb stuff? This was an accident, and they used this to experiment on if it was a live fire exercise, non-fire exercise, and was a live fire event. I believe they use this to find our emergency response and failed miserably. I think more will be learned from this. I'm with everybody. In 100 years, this will be looked at the Tiananmen Square of U.S. politics. I believe that. The books that are going to come out on this, they're going to burn people to the fucking ground.
Good.
So the question that I received in chat, but I want to know who gave the order to lock down the world. That's what I want to know.
Well, remember, it was supposed to be 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It was just supposed to be 2 weeks.
Who?
Yeah.
But who? It was the WHO.
It was the WHO. That's what I'm saying. WHO. Yeah.
But it was the WHO. They may have presented the idea, but our world leaders deferred to somebody. Who?
Right.
That's what I want to know. The United Nations of the Federation of countries around the world decided that they were going to usurp the American people. They were going to usurp their own authority and give someone else the keys to the fucking car. Yes, it was the World Health Organization, but who made the ultimate decision to do this? Like I said, we have been on this planet a long time together, and this world has never agreed on anything except the English are fucks. Okay?
What happened to the Monroe Doctrine throughout all of this? I don't care about this report as much as I care about every single day. It feels like the Monroe Doctrine just keeps getting trampled on. Hey, where did that go? That's still there. It's still in place. What happened?
Dude, every single bill, the Bill of Rights, 9 out of 10 have been altered and reduced. Every single one of them. There's only one that hasn't. And that's the Third Amendment, and that is the quartering of troops. And that's because we're not stuffing limeys into the East Coast up and down into the Appalachians. But trust me, if the government had a way to reduce that because they needed to, they would trample on that too. Our rights are an illusion. The Constitution has been used as a weapon against the American people. It was designed specifically antithetical to that. It was designed to protect us from the government and limit government's power. I'm telling you right now, this next segment we're going to do after this, there's a shitstorm coming. The heads are going to fucking roll. Leroy and I know what's about to happen because we worked at Intel. And I'm telling you right now, there are agencies that are shitting their purple panties.
There was a question. Who did the AAR?
The Senate Oversight Committee. Okay, real quick. Got a fun segment video, kind of a segue. And then we'll go into Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, and what this means. Kash Patel, we talked about this earlier today. If you have not watched this morning's show, you should watch it because I go into the scientific method and how we strayed so far from it and how they tried to replace theology and faith with science. And it's a really good breakdown. You should watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a little long, but, that's genetics. All right, so this is for Amy and Olivia. I thought you guys would enjoy this. Watch this.
Because it's in a grocery store, of course.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't find one in a kitchen. So
or a laundry room, as you so said
laundry.
this
I
morning.
was just gonna
yeah,
say.
that laundry. Thank you. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. Good call.
What the
Listen,
hell?
don't yell at her. Don't touch her. She very well could be the next president of the United States, is what the mother is saying.
Oh,
Listen.
makes sense.
Yeah, at least she's really black. So that's good. That wasn't racist, folks. That's a Kamala joke. We're lighting up.
Dude.
Not the mums.
Oh.
Not the mums. Oh, dude, not the fucking the
Dude,
champagne,
that's sparkling. Yeah.
sparkling cider. Come on, lady.
Dude, grab your kid.
That might be. You better check there. You better check yourself. That shit's like $4.99 a bottle. That's expensive. I don't think EBT covers that. Does anyone know if EBT covers sparkling cider? Was that racist? I'm sorry.
Don't y'all do that to a little girl. Y'all don't know what she's supposed to be.
Dude, then stop her. Oh my God. Can I get that mother in a room for like 5 seconds so I can tell her what a horrible fucking mom she is and to get her fucking kid under control? Are you shitting me? You're going to let your kid do that in a grocery store? Can you imagine if one of our kids even pulled that shit? I'll tell you, in Texas, we all went grocery shopping as a family, and I don't know what they did, but they started acting out. And I was like, push-ups now. And I made them do push-ups in the middle of the aisle. And everyone walking by was like, that's good parenting. Good for you guys. Good job. But I mean, they only acted out in a store a couple of times and they got their asses whooped when they got home for it. That fucking mom needs to get her shit under control because, man, she is not a mom. Holy cow.
Honey,
wow, that pisses me off.
Say fuck again. Just one more time.
Fuck.
Okay, good.
Is
All
that
right.
better?
Amy, your thoughts?
I think it's like if there's two ways I would have handled this if I was a witness. It depends on my day. If I was also having a bad day, I would have grabbed a bottle and slammed it on the ground with that girl and been like, "Come at me, bitch." I don't know. Like we all hate Walmart. I don't know.
God, Amy.
You don't know. I could be the next president. You don't know. You don't know me.
That's right.
You don't know me.
That's right.
You don't know what I'm
You don't know me.
You don't know me.
You don't know my problems.
It's just this. It's Walmart, and I don't know why anyone's surprised to see this. There's a
Right.
whole website dedicated to people of Walmart. I'm not shocked to see this at all. Like, I think it's hilarious. And that mom's
Reason
doing
I
a
will shop there.
good job raising her future felon. So, congrats.
So as bad as that mom is for basically enabling, right, that level of bad behavior and basically putting literally putting them in harm's way. Somebody's going to fall on that cider. Somebody's going to slip into one of the little Debbies, crack their head open. The way I see that, the manager at Walmart has every right to not only call the police, but then all of the damages that had been incurred, like
Yes.
bill that. Make sure that you bill that to that family, right?
Absolutely.
Even a step better, good parenting would say, look, we're now on the hook for this 200 some odd dollars. And guess what, kid? That's coming out of your allowance for like the next year. You know,
I'd make my kid clean it up.
Let Mike go. Go ahead, Mike. Since you don't have kids and you literally are like 20, what do you think?
I'd bring in some form of department, and I'm not for bigger government, but there's got to be like a fix stupid parenting department out there, or fix messed up kids, because that's a parent who probably had a very similar lifestyle to what you're watching pan out right in front of you with that child. If I were there, I'd probably just sit there and just kind of be like, where are your parents? And then just turn around and walk away. Nothing would come from it. It just separates yourself from the situation, but it's tragic, but not shocking to see. We also don't know what time of day it was based off of the footage, do we? So we don't know if this was like a fun 2 a.m. visit after a drunken Waffle House night, to Walmart. That is the best times. You want to see America for what it really is. Go to any Walmart between the hours of 2 and 3 a.m.
Are you saying black people go to Waffle House?
Oh, no, I go to Waffle House.
I love Waffle House too.
Come on.
I've never been to a Waffle House. I would love to go because I love Waffle House.
I'm just surprised you didn't say. A 2 a.m. binger at Waffle House to get chicken and waffles. I mean, I'm just saying, man.
That's my life. If that makes me one way or the other.
There's nothing wrong with Waffle House. It is the greatest place on. It was either Denny's or like if Waffle House was closed, we'd go to Denny's, and then you got the worst because it's smoking. Oh, God, your eggs would come out and they'd taste like nicotine. It was horrible.
We should have the kids watch that video and get their perspective
Not
on
right
that.
now. We got enough people on this fucking panel. Literally, we've been over 3 segments. Kash Patel. Now, I have... Leroy and I both have questioned Kash Patel on a couple of his stances. And we question overall his ability... Well, when he told President Trump that he could declassify anything at his discretion, which is not true. Leroy and I have went over that ad nauseum. Secret, confidential.
Sure.
TS and SCI, no. And you have to have those redacted based upon the intelligence collection sources. You have to have interagency communication on all aspects of anyone who touched that intel, and you have to redact it first. We've already covered this. Kash Patel saying, "Oh, well, Donald Trump can declassify anything he wants," is not true. And somebody in intelligence should know that. And I know he does. I know he's carrying water for Trump. I don't like his stance on J6, even though I now believe that Donald Trump should go ahead and pardon every J6er who did not do something criminal, right? Criminal's different. There are people who absolutely deserve to be in jail for J6. Sorry. I will not ever condone that type of behavior. But the people who were nonviolent, the people who had trespassing, the people who went into places, the people who fired off some extinguishers, the people who went on the Senate floor, give them a fucking break. Hit them with trespassing, time served, and clear their records. Pardon all of them. The hardcore criminals, the people that conspired against the government, who told all the judges to fuck off after their sentencing and showed disrespect to the court after they kissed their pucker for their entire trial, but then when they got sentenced were like, fuck you, I did it on purpose. Keep those motherfuckers in jail. Okay? Pardon everybody else. And I wasn't for that. Now I am. Because Joe Biden has completely opened up a can of worms. Yep. And Donald Trump now has carte blanche to do whatever the hell he wants when it comes to the J6ers, and they can't say shit. So, Kash Patel, let's do this first. I've got a breakdown of what he's done because a lot of people should know this. I showed this earlier today. I can't stand when people say somebody's not qualified when they're qualified. And I will tell you, we talked about this. I told you that Leroy for the CIA, and I said this about you earlier. If Leroy retired today, got out of contracting, got out of his service, he could be a assistant deputy director overseeing a channel inside the FBI. Hands down.
Sure.
With no fucking issue with his experience. Could I do that? Probably not. I don't have the length of time and I don't have the overall experience. Now, I was shit hot in Intel and my name is still known in the community, but could I do that? No, not with my time served. But if you add in my retail experience, overall leading people, understanding from an economic standpoint, supply and demand in the retail chain, working for Fortune 15s, having a 2.1 billion P&L. Now that changes the conversation depending upon what I'm applying for. My experience is there, but Leroy could be a deputy director for maybe not science and technology, but he could oversee acquisitions or logistics as a assistant deputy director. He's qualified. So based on that, I want you to look at Kash Patel's experience. And just to the FBI, I'd be damn good at that job. Whether I'm qualified or not is immaterial. Because if you want to have an honest conversation, I told you today how you fix the FBI. And if Kash Patel has any questions about how he's going to do it, that's how you do it. And you start from the rank and file. You earn the trust of the rank and file. You go and fill their checklist and you go ahead and put deposits in their proverbial bank. Then once you have that established for 90 days and you're a person they can trust, then you start having them challenge the field supervisors. And then ultimately those field supervisors will be replaced and your rank and file will do that for you. They need to completely work this from a ground up situation. But what happens is most of these directors come in and do a top-down cleaning, and they take the echelon of command at the high levels and replace it with the mid-level supervisors who are all fucking horrible. Got to start at the ground. But anyway, here's his experience quickly, and then I want Leroy to dive into this. Kash served as Chief of Staff to the Department of Defense, the DOD, Deputy Assistant to Trump, Chief of Staff of DOD. He had 3 million plus employees operating a $740 billion budget and $2 trillion in assets. Served as Deputy Director of National Intelligence, exactly what Tulsi Gabbard's going for. He oversaw all 17 intelligence community agencies, all 17. Even the ones you don't know about outside of those 17. Right, Leroy? He led the director's mission to synthesize our intelligence holdings. He led President Trump's counterterrorism mission as deputy assistant to president of the National Security Council. Helped Trump on his top priorities, including Al-Qaeda and ISIS senior leadership and safely repatriating dozens of American hostage. He had implementation of interagency of national CT strategy, crypto technologies. National Security Advisor and senior
counterterrorism.
Oh, was it counterterrorism or C? Oh, it is. It is counterterrorism. Thank you. Sorry. You see CT and you immediately go, crypto.
Yeah. That's the
Yep, you're absolutely right. It's my fault. House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the HPSCI. He exposed the Russian collusion, Russian gate bullshit. Overall, U.S. Special Forces. He enacted legislation to fully fund the multi-billion-dollar budget supporting intelligence and counterterrorism. National Security Prosecutor at the DOJ under Obama administration. He was good enough for Obama. DOJ Liaison Officer to Joint Special Forces Command, JSOC. And was a public defender in the federal and state courts ranging from murder, narco trafficking to complex financial crimes. And if you want to know who's responsible for narco trafficking, complex financial crimes, and to narco, that'd be the FBI. So he has specific experience related to the position, and in my opinion, is an absolute lock for deputy director of the FBI. I'm going to have Leroy go. Then I'm going to have Mike, and then we'll follow it up. Ladies, if you have anything you want to go ahead and add on to this as well, go ahead.
So, just as a real quick review of everything that Matt was just talking about, serving as the chief of staff on a DoD for the assistant. As an assistant to President Trump, managed 3 million plus employees, $740 billion budget, $2 trillion in assets. Deputy director of national intelligence, and the other 17 ICs. So you start, aggregating all of that experience. He is absolutely right. Kash Patel is absolutely qualified for that position in every sense of the job. The reason that we're seeing this level of pushback from the left is because at this point in the game, whatever you might feel about the generalized philosophy of the Democrats versus the Republicans, right now, as it stands, the Democrats are the establishment party. They don't want to have their shit disrupted, and that's what's going to happen. Kash Patel is obviously qualified for it. They just don't like what he's going to do, and they know it because he's already projected what he said he was going to do. He's already told them. So there's going to be a lot of pushback from this. I would expect that you're going to get skeletons dug out of the closet back from when he was in grade school, and somebody will find something, and they will turn this into a Hunter Biden, right? They will turn this into, hey, look, we have to find a crime on this guy because he's going to do a lot of damage to the establishment that we need to exist. That's my take on it. I don't mind Kash Patel. He is a little abrasive at times, and he does say that shit that Matt and I were talking about earlier, where he'll say, oh, well, President Trump could have declared. No, he couldn't have. You need to be a lot more clear when you're saying stuff like that. You have to be precise in your speech. That being said, I don't dislike the guy. It's not that I'm on the fence with him. I hope he's going to do a good job. I get the feeling like he's going to do a good job. He's absolutely qualified. Let's see what happens.
Quickly, if you're so afraid of Kash Patel that he is going to circumvent your democracy and he's going to have this unchecked and unfettered power, and he wants to dismantle the FBI and break it down and compartmentalize it like they did with the OSS and the CIA, then he's the right fucking guy for the job because there's too much power in that position, and that's the right guy to put him in there. He is going to he is going to segment the FBI into 5 different branches. The FBI will decentralize its power. They will stop doing counterterrorism. It has given them unfettered access to violate domestic rights. Counterterrorism, the programs that are used in counterterrorism, Leroy and I can both tell you, are way too powerful for domestic purview. The access that the FBI has against you and me, an everyday citizen, they should have no right to, based upon our rights to privacy and the Constitution of these United States. I believe Kash Patel will limit the FBI's involvement in domestic counterterrorism. You're going to have to expand Department of Homeland Security. You're going to have to give some more power to the NSA, which was a clusterfuck after the NSA. But it's time to remove some responsibilities to the FBI. Mike, wait 1 second. Let me show you a quick video that's going to help with some dialogue around this, since Leroy and I just literally bled that turnip dry. And then we'll come right back and everyone can make comments. Here it is.
But what do you say to the senators on Capitol Hill that are already quietly vowing to put up roadblocks to the president's choice to be FBI director, Kash Patel? What do you say to them given the outcome of this election?
So, one, I think you do owe the president a great deal of deference on his picks. Kash Patel understands the problems with the FBI, and he is a reformer that will not be captured by the bureaucrats. Contrast that to our current FBI director, Christopher Wray. We remember when he got appointed back in 2017, he immediately became a company man and was captured by that institution. He has not reformed it in any way, shape, or form. And so I actually think Kash has a lot of very significant experience that's important here. But put that aside, you can be the smartest guy in the world, you can have all this experience. If you don't understand that the institution needs to be reformed, if you get captured, then you're done. You're not going to be effective. And so I think Donald Trump in this pick and others, he's making sure he's getting people who have the proper posture to these institutions. These are not the revered institutions that they may have been 30 years ago. These are very problematic institutions. Kash understands that. I think a lot of Republican senators understand that, but apparently not enough do.
Do you expect him to get confirmed, Governor?
I do.
All right. Governor DeSantis, thank you so much. Great to see you, as always. And
all right. Mike, and then ladies, please, and I appreciate it. We're trying to spread the time around, so Mike, I want to appreciate your patience, and ladies, it's a little bit different with a 5-panel. We have a shorthand, and we're learning with Mike since he so rudely interrupted our show. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. First and foremost, I saw that comment. Thank you, Robin. Very kind of you. So he sounds highly qualified.
But what do you say to the senators?
Oh, that happens sometimes. Sorry. It happens. I apologize.
No, he sounds highly qualified. My thing that I would like to know from you and Leroy and the ladies here is, what does that fallout potentially look like for him? It seems like anybody that Trump taps that is more than qualified, if not, clearly overqualified for a position, they always come after him. I mean, look at Kavanaugh, for example, right? Anybody, anytime. So what do y'all think that looks like, especially for FBI? What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
I can go.
I'll say something.
You go ahead, Olivia.
I think E. Jean Carroll's going to come out of the woodworks. She's got some more trees and rocks to paint. I think it's either going to be her or one of her ugly stepsisters is going to come forward, and we're going to have a Kavanaugh. That's what's going to happen. There's some crazy ass woman is going to come out and say that he sexually assaulted her in a Walmart dressing room when she was trying on men's boxers or some, I don't know, some shit like that. But
there's a kid
somebody's
outside
going to come out.
Bottles.
Yeah, somebody is going to come out and spin a story, and then we're never going to hear from her again. And that is going to be my guess on what they're going to try and do to him.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't. I think he is, and I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but he's Indian, and like they are straight laced. They work hard in school. Their parents don't mess around. You don't get good grades. You sleep outside, right? Like that's it. They have to do well. Like that is their responsibility. So I don't think he's going to have something come out of the woodwork. I think he's too clean. I think the Democrats are going to have to confirm him because he has worked for them, and they really. I thought it was a joke. Honestly, when I heard this, I was like, that is not real, because I know the Democrats were going to flip their shit. But I think it's a good pick. I think it's going to be great. I love not all, but most of Trump's picks so far. So I think we're going to have a good start.
They also make it one hell of a Slurpee.
They do.
And it's delicious.
And they have great.
He can also drive it.
Did you just say he was clean? He's clean. Is he brown? Is he brown, Michael? If he's clean and brown, let him in.
Like his record is clean. Not he looks very clean too.
He can
I
also
love the
carpool
brown
to work.
people,
You know, he
and
can
I
drive his
especially
cab
like
and pick up
Kash.
coworkers on the way.
Because me as a billionaire, I like Kash. And so Kash Patel makes sense. And he's brown. Brown people love me.
And don't Patels usually have hotels too? Are they like the hotel
Yes.
owners? So like that's
And
him and
gas
Trump have
stations.
that in common. Like they're like all like they're good.
Hey,
He's
listen,
one of the
Olivia.
best builders. I know a lot of them. Okay, I probably am the greatest, but
Right.
That's
Kash is a
good.
wonderful one.
You've been replaced, Leroy. That's it. You're out.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty fucking good, Mike. You know, the
One
interesting
day a
thing
year,
is,
come on.
if the FBI has a problem with their tech support, they can go ahead and call Kash, which is also really good too.
Right.
So just
Or Vivek.
go ahead.
Vivek is
Hello, you've reached Kash Patel. How can I help you? I've got a problem with my printer. I'll be right there. I'm on the 4th floor. They're not going to find shit on him. This guy was director of DNI. He had 17. He had clearances that people who have clearances don't know anything about. They're not going to find shit. They're going to hit him on J6, 100%. They're going to hit him on the document stuff, and they're going to try to paint him as an extremist. It's not going to work. And the only thing I want Kash Patel to do is say this in open hearing, is after about 12 hours of this, just simply say, at this point, I've answered all your questions, and I have to wonder, is it the color of my skin that's causing these issues? You want to shut those fuckers down? Just say that. And play the race card. Throw it right back in their fucking faces. Make them swallow it. Yeah. Just be like, here you go, right down your throat.
Or he could just claim the DEI hire. Like Trump could
right.
say, I'm going to have an Indian man in this position. Like, this is it.
Right. Or he could say, okay, really seriously, at this point, what difference does it make? And he could do that and pull the Hillary thing. So I don't know. I just think it's great that he's clean and he's brown, and I think we should put him in a position. He's a clean, articulate black man.
Is he brown?
Is he clean, Mikey? Mikey, if he's clean, let him in.
Clean, let him in.
If he's clean, I want to do him.
That's a wrong one.
It's a mixture of both fucking pop cultures. All right. Kash Patel.
Think about his other picks too. I mean, when we were talking about it last week or the week before, we were talking about Attorney General pick Pam Bondi, DNI is Tulsi Gabbard, Press Secretary is Caroline Leavitt, Secretary of the Homeland Security is Kristi Noem. All of these people, every one of these people is going to be an anti-establishment. They're going to have that ringing in their background, which is good because as the FBI has grown exponentially, it's gotten more powerful. Essentially, where they've gotten that power from is the Congress. Now is the time for Congress to take some of that power back, get it away from the FBI. This is a great checks and balances kind of story that's about to happen.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
Maureen. Shh. Maureen says, "Why is the Corona after action report dated December 4th?" Okay, cool. Good conversation. Shh. I wonder why. It's almost like it was supposed to be released on December 4th, but somehow there's some early access to it or something. I don't know. Moving on.
You're a Prime member.
With a report that big, it does happen. That's probably a legitimate accident where usually when you're getting ready to pump out a report like that, it has been written months in advance and they have to keep updating the dates, right? And so there's something like the ICOD, right? The intelligence cutoff date. You're going to have a lot of that. And so a lot of times when you have such a big document that is getting ready to get pumped out, to be within 1 or 2 days of the actual release date is really not a big deal.
Or you got an early advance copy of it, and it's supposed to be released December 4th. One of the two. Moving on. Okay. December 4th is when that document was to be released. It's up on the select subcommittee's website right now. If you want the link, I'm going to put it in here for you for the oversight. But there might have been early access to that document at some point because some people saw that document floating around earlier this afternoon. Just saying. Moving on. We've only got a few minutes left. And I think it's appropriate to put in something that would spark some serious 8-minute conversation before we have to go. Folks, if you have not had a chance, please donate to the show. I know we've hit our goal, but this is going to be our toughest month. December, January, and February is the toughest 3 months. It always is. And Facebook decides to kind of cut our legs out from underneath us. So if you have the ability, you've got your Christmas shopping almost done, or you have everything in plan and you've got a little left over and it's not going to put you in a bad position, maybe you can help the show. We would greatly appreciate it, of course, if you would be so kind. We're going to go quickly on the Hunter Biden pardon. But first, I want you to watch this.
No one is above the law. No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law. No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one 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 is above the law.
Son of a bitch.
No one is above the law.
All right. Hunter Biden. Now, I want to make sure everyone understands. I had people asking me earlier today. I don't know how to put things more clear, so I'm just going to say this. Anything that happened between 2014 and 2024 for Hunter Biden, he cannot be held accountable for at all. He could have killed somebody. He's done. If they find him for murder tomorrow, he's been pardoned. Anything he has done in that 10-year period, sexually molesting a child, he's covered. Doing cocaine off an underage person's hip bone, he's covered. Murder, embezzlement, fraud, not returning the fucking cart at the local Target, he's covered. This is called blanket immunity. And that is why you don't give it except to Democrats, like in Hillary Clinton's entire staff, who received blanket immunity and literally received immunity from each other. So this is designed to not only protect the Bidens, but this doesn't close up and shore up. If Hunter Biden is there's information that's discovered, it doesn't make it inadmissible in court. They just can't charge Hunter Biden, but they can call him to testify. They can put charges based upon the information that they find. That is why Joe Biden is more than likely going to pardon his entire family and himself on the 20th. This was in lieu of, because December 12th, Hunter was about to be sentenced, and he was going to prison. Probably for a short period of time, but was going to prison nonetheless. So he did it now. That's why. Okay?
Does this count for any future activities that Hunter
That is a
may
very
do?
good question. It's actually the first time I have looked everywhere. I have searched everywhere. I have looked for every type of deal when it comes to presidential immunity or immunity issued by a state or the federal government. I have never seen an advanced immunity unless it's a court case. There is another situation that is pending that is not covered under the pardon. It's not a blanket pardon. So it's a pardon for something else, and there's another case. They will prevent anything in the future leading up to that case for any additional charges that had to do with what he was pardoned for. And so if a prosecutor wanted to slap charges that he was pardoned for on a current open case, they can't do that. That's the only time. This covers everything in the future. He could go out and just shoot somebody tomorrow, and he's covered. He could go out and this fucker could order a pizza with pineapple on it.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
And be forgiven. So this is, I mean, this is called like the money shot. This is the golden ticket. This is the Willy Wonka. Grandpa all of a sudden can walk after being completely bedridden for most of his life. But when he gets the golden ticket, he starts doing fucking cartwheels good.
What about state charges? He's immune to everything?
State charges are completely different. But these are federal crimes that he did and international crimes that he did. So the states have no authority whatsoever.
Got it. I personally, my favorite part of the pardon is that Biden said that he was singled out. Yeah, totally singled out. No, the correct verbiage for that is he got caught. Not he was singled out.
Right.
He actually got caught for doing something wrong. You want to talk about singled out? Let's talk about the 94 indictments that Trump got for doing jack shit.
97.
Excuse me, 97.
And
oh boy.
7 were reversed, I think.
So,
or something like
I
that.
mean, yeah, talk about being singled out. Really? Oh, this entire family. To be honest, I really hope that Biden is just like, fuck this. I'm burning the entire thing to the ground. And he does before he leaves. He's got 6 weeks left. Please, burn it all, please. Take them all out. Make Trump's job easy.
I still think, for some reason, he's not going to swap pardons with Trump. I just don't see it now because I don't think he can trust that. Biden has to protect his family. And the cat's out of the bag. And we'll let people respond and hear your thoughts, and then I'll put final thoughts on it. The last thing I'm going to say is somebody said, well, Nixon. The Nixon was from 1969 to 74, August to August, I believe. And that was a blanket pardon, but it was not proactive for the future. This is proactive up until the 20th of January. Do you understand? So I don't think it's been done before. Olivia, you already had yours. Amy, what are your thoughts on this?
I think this is wonderful for the American people because it just, well, I mean, I am serious. It's another example of how full of crap and how many lies that they weave. And just a few days ago, it was like, I'll never pardon him. This is not what I'm about. And here we are. It's just another mistrust. I think if we were all in his position, I would pardon my kid. Even if he was a complete horrible person, it's my kid. So I think it was acceptable to do this, but it's the fact that he lied about it and said, I'm not doing it, and then does it. And then the whole blanket thing is very crazy to me. But I think it's good because it does give Trump the ability to say, look what y'all did. Here's why I'm doing this and this and here. And I have a justifiable reason. It is what it is. So I think it's a good thing.
Can go ahead, Mike. What are your thoughts real quick? And then I'll answer the question.
Yeah, I agree with Amy. I don't think it's going to matter, though, if Trump justifies anything to people who just don't like Trump. It's not going to matter at all. The stance, it's not going to matter what the other side does. But yes, I like the stance that you bring of you put it out there. How many more times does this happen or have to happen for the population to be like, yo, this isn't right? I don't think any generation would sit here of people that were brought up well-intended parents and a well-intended family, at least, would sit there and say that they couldn't understand that happening with it being his son. But it was the amount of months and all the way up to the moments before he pardons him to where he's saying Biden, is like, I'm not going to pardon him. That's what I'm glad that it just billboarded itself. It's out there in front of the rest of the world. What is the rest of the world going to do with it? There is the question, and they're probably
they're excited. They're like, oh, he's such a wonderful man. I completely understand. I mean, Twitter is just aglow with bullshit.
Well, it'll find a way to spin it against Trump, and that's what's going to be in tomorrow's headlines. And then we're going to forget all about it in 48 hours because we have ADD as a society. So there you go.
What did you say?
We have.
It's okay. So oh boy, dude.
I got something else to say.
Yeah. Real quick. I just want to answer a question.
Okay.
Leroy,
already go first.
I know, but I have a question, and I want to spread the wealth, and then you got it, Leroy. Someone said, "Hey, can the Supreme Court overrule a pardon?" They can review it, and if the pardon was received in a felonious or nefarious way, bribery or something else, they very well could rule on it and remove it. They never have. And the reason why is ex parte, I think it's 1849 ex parte, someone look it up, states that essentially presidential power and pardons are absolute. And that has been precedent since 1849. It's the Supreme Court is not going to oversee this because then any other pardon can be brought into question, and there's no way they're going to fuck that all those decisions made by, because understand, most presidents pardon hundreds of people at the end of their term. Leroy, go ahead.
It's interesting, the dates, right? Why did he have to go back all the way to better than a decade, back to January the 1st of 2014? Could it have anything to do with the fact that that was the year that he got hired on with Burisma, and that one of the very first deals brokered out of Hunter's office, was a $48 million deal? If there was any sort of payoffs that were involved to the big guy, I think I understand that he has been basically given this blanket, can't do any wrong now, right? You're not going to get me now, copper. I see this as a huge problem. I see this as almost like an admission of guilt in a manner of speaking, to say, hey, look, that thing that everyone said or thought that we were doing? Yeah, you were right. We were actually doing it.
Right.
And so that's, nobody is really talking about that. Why did it go all the way back to January of 2014, right after Hunter was let go from the U.S. Navy under not a dishonorable discharge? He was administratively discharged. This guy is a miserable piece of shit. And it boggles my mind that anyone has had the sack to defend him and his dad. Sorry.
Something makes me think that Hunter Biden was raised a lot like that little girl in Walmart, and that he probably did the same shit. He acted out. He got his way. He was a little princess, and he got everything he wanted, and he never had any consequences. And just, I mean, what a spoiled, rotten brat. I mean,
You think his dad was saying, I'm going to be the president one day, you leave it.
Sorry.
Sorry.
That was funny.
An administrative discharge means that you have a person in Washington, D.C. or an upper command who owes you a favor. Just let you know. And it means that there was severe negligence and misconduct by Hunter, and there was, including sexually inappropriate actions in the military. His entire military career, he was almost booted 3 times. There were drug use, sexual misconduct, and it was all covered. Well, you're the one that made it sound like an administrative discharge was a good thing. Just saying, it's not. It's a nice way of, it's nice way. It is a bad thing. It's fucking a horrible thing. Honestly, it should just be a dishonorable discharge, but it's a way to cover up a dishonorable to save face, and it's usually by political means. But I know thousands of people who've exited the military. Not one of them has an administrative discharge. Do you know anybody with an admin discharge? No. Nope. And it's either medical, honorable, dishonorable. That's the way it works. That's usually all it is. Matt, this covers the $1 billion prosecutor bribe. Yeah. Not for Biden. Biden is not protected out of any of those things. Biden is still open hunting and open season. That's why he's going to pardon himself. And he's going to pardon Jill, and he's going to pardon his brother. And he's going to pardon everybody. He's going to pardon Ashley. Anybody who had criminal ties to the money laundering in Ukraine is going to have a pardon. And anyone, now I can say it now. See, I couldn't say money laundering in Ukraine, and I fought against it because I'm like, there's no proof. You have no proof. Matt, we have bank accounts. No, you don't. Matt, we have paper trail. No, you don't. Matt, we have shell companies. Yeah, you do. But you don't have any bullet hard proof that shows Biden connected to this money. And when you finally did do the bank account, nobody cared. Now you have admission of guilt by pardoning Hunter Biden since 2014, that 100% that the accusations of money laundering and selling and peddling influence were absolutely true. So now I can say it. Because why do you need a pardon if it's not true? Dude, when people say conspiracy theories, just wait 6 months, I'm really starting to believe that.
Yeah.
Because, there's some things, like I'm not going to believe about lizards and fucking stolen elections and other things. But most of the things that here's the thing. Most of the things that Donald Trump has said and people laugh at him and say he's fucking crazy have come true. People say that about Alex Jones, and I'm like, no, Alex Jones is fucking nuts.
I wonder if Alex Jones is going to get his show back.
Alex Jones is nuts, dude. I don't care. People are like, oh, he's been right about so much. I'm like, you're fucking an idiot. No, he hasn't. He's been right about a few things, but he is not right. Everyone's like, he's right about everything. No, he's not. Not even a close bit. But Trump, wiretaps, Strzok and Page, fake Russian collusion, dirty dossier, spying on his campaign, wiretaps inside Trump Tower. He talked about China virus and said it came from China in the Wuhan lab. I can just sit here and go on. That ivermectin was actually, and hydrochloroquine were good solutions for COVID. They called them fucking nuts. The disinfectant on the outside of the skin was actually good to stop the virus from attaching bacteria to your body, not injecting it to your system. That UV light was fantastic as a cleanser to stop the virus. We can go on and on and on, man. He said Ukraine. He's like, this is a honeypot. This is ultimately Joe Biden laundering money. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, whatever. Your son took a $1 billion a bribe for this. No, he didn't. And then we find out he did.
Right.
Give me a break. This is just bullshit. There's never going to be any accountability. That's unless you tear the system down. And the only way to do that is by putting people whose number one goal is to destroy what currently is in place and rip the roots out from the topsoil. Get it
That's what we're seeing
ripped.
in a lot of these picks.
And we need to do it.
A lot of that. Yeah.
Can you imagine Kash Patel walks in, FBI director, goes to Tulsi Gabbard and says, I've got 312 names for you. She's like, I'll take care of it. 312 people are fired without severance or facing criminal charges the next day. Good. Do it. And not only that, take out the Republicans too. Take out anyone who profited off the deaths of Americans. Anyone who profited off fentanyl, anyone who profited off the border, anyone who profited off Ukraine, anyone who profited off locking our kids up, censoring parents, calling us domestic terrorists, whoever profited, may they all pay. I don't care which party they're. I want them all rooted out. Closing thoughts will go to Olivia, Amy, Leroy, and Mike will tie the knot on the show tonight and take us home. Olivia, you go ahead and start. I will go after Leroy, and then we'll give it to Mike. Go ahead, Libby.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. It was wonderful to have you here. And thank you all for the donations. And it's nice to be back. It was definitely weird being off for 4 nights. Oh, also, we will be on late tomorrow. Ethan has his first choir concert, and it's until 7,
Aww.
so it'll be a little late.
7:30, 7:45.
Yeah, 7:30, 7:45. So it'll be a little truncated show. Truncated.
Truncated?
Truncated. It was a combination of trumpet and truncated. I don't know where that came from, but yeah.
Maureen says,
I love Donald Trump.
No,
He's the
I
best.
think Mike, he can pardon himself. Then does that not imply action taken with that in mind? I don't know what that means, but Joe Biden most assuredly can pardon himself. It would make sense to have Donald Trump do it, like Gerald Ford did for Nixon. I don't think Biden's going to take that fucking chance, honestly, because I could just imagine Trump going, come on, ole, and just pulling out the rug from underneath him. Amy, go ahead.
Totally agree. It was great to be back with everyone. It was odd having off so many days, although it was nice. Honestly, it was nice to just relax and hang out with my family. It was great having Mike on this evening. And I know we talked about it briefly a few weeks ago, but I think everything's ready to go for launching. We're hoping to feed 3,000 to 5,000 officers on Inauguration Day. So I'm going to send you guys that information. We'll get it on this show, and then hopefully my girlfriend can come on and give them details on that. It's about $10 to sponsor one meal. So we're just trying to get out the word for that, and I'll follow up with more of that coming very soon. But
yeah, I want to take part in it, and we're going down for the inauguration, I hope.
Yeah, we're all it should be good to go. It'll be we can talk about it later, but yes,
Do you have us on as volunteers?
Yes, everyone's in who wants to be there. So
Thomas Austin says he resigns on January 2nd and Harris pardons him. There's no reason for it. Why? Why do you think he would give? Joe Biden hates Harris. He doesn't need to do that. All he needs to do is pardon himself. President can pardon himself, folks. I don't understand why this is a big deal. On his way out, he just goes, ice cream, macaroni, Zelensky, Wamble, Bamble, Akio, pardon. And he's done. That's it. Akio, pardon. And he can just pardon himself. He doesn't need to put Kamala Harris. Why would he do that? He hates her. Leroy. Thanks, Amy.
Oh, great show. It was really great to be back with everyone post holidays like this. I'm glad everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We covered a lot today. Mike, it was great to work with you. It was good to meet you. It's going to be really fun to have your expertise in the energy sector as kind of an addition onto the show. We're already kind of a heavily geopolitically kind of focused kind of show. Yeah, it was a good show. I really liked it.
We haven't invited him back yet.
Well,
I wasn't getting ahead of myself, but the Trump alone.
Why are you? First of all, why are you called
Believe
Hot
me.
Pants? Why are you called Hot Pants?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, hotcakes was and is still. It's just it's a nerd thing. It's a gamer tag. It's a name that came up years and years ago. Every year for college, all me and my buddies would go to one of our houses and just for 4 days, just hang out. And that's the name that I got, and that's the one that stuck because I like hotcakes. And Petey just it didn't sound good with hotcakes, Mike. Hotcakes Petey just rolls off a little bit better. So. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for
At
explaining.
least somebody cares. Yeah, oh boy, here we go.
Is that your mom?
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
that's
she's
one of
smoking.
the good ones.
She's smoking. Can I call her?
My dad has a lot of guns. You would like them.
So do I. This is great. That was a joke. I'm just paying your son back. So, oh, here's the mustache. Oh, this plays. Oh, you even got the mirrored sunglasses. Are you driving a van?
Oh, this is the terrible mustache video. I think I went into a store that I know. I actually went into a store. I think that day, and the guy at the
like a young
checking me
Ron
out.
Jeremy there. Yeah.
That's
that's horrible.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it was. He called me on my
Herman
16th
Cain.
birthday. Yeah, randomly,
What
my
a
mom dropped us off at Hooters, as you do for 16-year-olds, and he was sitting right
It's a
beside
good
my
mom.
Yeah,
What an amazing guy, Herman
Not at
Cain.
Hooters, but,
Oh yeah, this dude. This is tight ass preppy elitist club. Is this picture?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's my
Where's the clan?
Enterprise rent-a-car.
Where's the clan meeting at?
Oh my god.
Where the white women at?
Hey, where the white women at? I love that.
Oh god.
Oh boys.
Oh boys. Now, Rhett, what have I told you about cleaning up after cross burnings? You gotta watch that. All right.
See, it's coming off.
See, it's coming off.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
Oh, baby, I ain't got enough vitamin E yet.
Baby, please.
Who was that? Your sister and your mom and grandma?
Yeah, that was my sister, mom, and grandma. Yeah.
Holy crap, that shirt.
Oh
That's
yeah.
a shirt, dude.
Go
You're an
Braves.
Atlanta Braves fan?
When
So-
they're doing good.
When
I'm
they're
seriously.
doing- which means he's not
Bye,
a
Mike.
fan.
And it's gone. Nah,
At least it's
maybe
NFC
UGA.
or not NFC. At least it's NL.
Dude, your dad, how tall are you, Mike?
No, that's not
Five,
dad.
6? Oh.
No, this was at a event my mom had donated to for a local radio show host. That is Eric Von Hessler. Yeah.
Okay. How tall are you, by the way?
Short. That's why I'm happy that I'm sitting higher than Leroy tonight. Thank you for that. We planned this, Leroy,
Yeah,
before
no
you even
worries.
got in here. I'm only 5'9". That's why I wear boots to be 5'10", get that extra inch,
Wow.
It's a hard world out here.
The
All
guy
you
on the
6
left
foot-
looks like Brian.
That's
Brian
dad
Cranston.
without his mustache. Mom, why would you send that? He looks
Is that
so
your dad?
different
He looks
without
like
a
Brian
mustache.
Cranston.
He does
It's
a little bit.
terrible without the
You part
mustache.
Indian?
Yeah, we are.
Do you know
Wait a-
Elizabeth Warren?
No.
Wait a second. Wait a second. I've got some photographic evidence
Oh, no.
that the Navajo Nation isn't going to agree with.
Oh. All right. See,
hello.
photo with me and the mustache. That cowboy hat actually looks really good with the mustache. I don't know if she
Yeah.
sent that one. That's the good
I don't know. I'm looking at you in cowboy boots with your sister.
It's
I
like
think
if Rip went and visited Sesame
love
Street.
my
Sure,
boots.
I guess.
this is a good picture. This is one of.
What is this? Just going through social media of Mike night? Oh God, here we go.
oh,
There's your sister.
Right, that's a great photo.
Horrible.
that's so
That's
cute.
cute. Wearing the boots that are way too big.
We might have been in Wyoming at that point when Dad was out there for a stint. Yeah.
Your
They took
mom.
us to a real rodeo, which is why Twisters is an amazing movie because we actually literally had to run away from a
They're
Twister.
remaking that.
Throwing that one out there.
Dude, what's the story with the
You know
roses?
they're remaking that.
I don't know why I got roses. I think my sister actually did that as a prank. I did not want to take that photo.
It's okay. It's okay. You don't need to tell us. We'll just
picks it.
assume. Yeah,
I gave
will
it to
assume.
one of the beautiful ladies.
It
Just
looks
pass them
like
out by
you
one.
have a very full and happy life. You've come a long way, Charlie Brown. Look at this. Look at this picture. You have the 8 is enough haircut.
Yes. Oh.
Nice. That was,
He
that
looks
was
like the kid
laptop.
from Santa Claus
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
in that
He does.
picture.
You know what? Oddly
Yeah.
enough,
Yeah.
I saw that and I thought, give it to Mikey. He likes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who else he looks like when he was younger? It's Brad. Our friend Brad.
A little bit.
Totally see that.
Here he looks like I don't know.
Okay.
Looks like a
football.
Looks like a hippie. Get a haircut.
Yeah, a little bit.
I hate that hair looking back at it, man.
So, Mike, your first experience on the Don't Unfriend Me show. Would love to hear. You can lie. How did you not or enjoy it? First of all, you didn't seem nervous at all, which is good. We got that out fairly quickly. How did you enjoy yourself or not enjoy yourself tonight?
No, I'm glad that we changed my camera's shake rate so you couldn't see me just shaking out of just being nervous halfway through there. But no, it was fun. It was very comfortable. And I expected personally to get taken out a lot by the crowd tonight, or maybe Leroy or you or Olivia. I don't think I've given any reason for Amy to have beef with me.
Like that?
Bye, Mike.
Was that it? Did it go a little something like that? We'll wait for him to call back.
Oh my gosh, you actually hung up on him?
Yeah.
Oh, you're horrible.
That is me.
Like,
Look at him. He knows. He gets the sense of humor
you
now.
You asked for it.
Oh, goodness.
You know, I
You were saying, Mike.
Radio show. I expect a little more respect.
That's right.
Oh, goodness.
Well,
Thank you guys for having me. It was great.
It was fun to have you. You're more than welcome to come back anytime. It's always good to have multiple hosts. And Amy and Leroy are on Monday nights, and Amy's on Wednesday, and Leroy's on Friday. Usually Tuesdays and Thursdays I run solo. You have an open invitation. Anytime you want to come on. And we would love to have you. You did a great job, and I know the dummies loved you. Next time I expected a little more donations from your family. $50 is a little cheap.
I'll let
I'm
them
just
know.
saying.
No, thank you, Dad, for that. I didn't expect him.
Listen, Dad, if you're trying to buy his way onto the show, you are
Oh my gosh.
let's kick it up a notch,
Oh,
okay?
goodness.
Add a 0 or 2 and we'll call it good. He'll be on every night. I'll give him the show. You can buy it for $50,000. You can just give it to him. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. Hey, guys, do me a favor. Go to thedumbshow.com. You can pick up some great coffee. Go over to wimkin.com as well. Sign up for Wimkin. They are free speech network, 9 million followers. It's real simple. Go to Wimkin, put in your username, choose an email, fill a profile picture out, do all that type of stuff. You won't receive an email for confirmation about 24 hours after you fill everything out. You'll be able to go ahead and sign in. So don't forget your username. But sign up for Wimkin, Free Speech Network. You can watch the show directly there. I want to thank Olivia. I want to thank Amy. I want to thank Leroy for a great night. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 o'clock for another Don't Unfriend Me show. And to Mike's parents, thanks for letting us rib him and make fun of him. It's all in good fun. Okay?
Yeah.
Good night. Thanks, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, y'all.
Bye.
Bye,
guys.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Bye.
See ya. Maybe. Hold on. Shit. Where's my... Okay, there it is. Bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.